Good morning, and welcome to our daily word this morning. It's the end of another week, and I'm glad you could join me for our time together as we continue our conversation through the daily word and what it means and how it applies and how we live our lives based on it, and just some guidance from the word. And so, as always, I am glad you carved out time to be with me this morning. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. My computer would not let me do anything without doing an update. And of course, updates never happen as fast as you wish. And so that's why I'm a little late this morning. But thanks for hanging in there with me. So today is daily word number 782 as we continue our time together. And it's a beautiful, sunny, a little bit chilly morning this morning here at the lake anyway. And so I'm glad you could hang in there. And I'm always grateful that you carve out time to be with me as we share our lives together. So this morning, I've chosen probably familiar words for all of us from the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1. And they are powerful words, and we hear this. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. These words are powerful, a reminder of God's presence with us. I always think about, and I've shared this before, I've shared it in worship, and I always think about when I'm in churches, St. Paul's or other places, I'm always curious, wondering, thinking about those witnesses, that great cloud of witnesses who've gone before us, that we're surrounded by them, and that when we continue to strive and thrive and push and tug and pull and grunt and plan and succeed and fail and do all the things that we do. I always think about the great cloud of witnesses when we confirm young people. I think about the great cloud of witnesses when we baptize people, babies or adults. The great cloud of witnesses who, in their past, they put aside everything to make the church what it is, and they say the words we say. We promise our love, support, and care to the one about to be baptized. Or we make distinct promises to confirmands about how we're going to share our lives with them. And so we hear this text, this wonderful, amazing words that we're surrounded by this great cloud of witnesses, and we should put off everything that hinders us to move forward. And then the scripture says we should run with perseverance the race marked out for us. I think sometimes we're so afraid to fail that we don't run. We don't run with perseverance. We take really cautious baby steps. Sometimes we don't take any steps at all. We just stay pat in one place. We want to avoid being hurt. We want to avoid failure. But the scripture reminds us that in trying to control our circumstances, we kill the opportunities that are before us. We become apathetic. We become complacent. Complacency becomes our highest ideal. We long for easy street sometimes. Instead, we should be reminded that all the circumstances around us are not the finish line. We are called to run with perseverance the race that's set before us. And that we should be reminded that we have that great cloud of witnesses that surround us. It's one of the things that disturbs me, that bothers me, and it's only one. There are many, many, many things about churches that are voting to disaffiliate from their denomination. I think they're making horrible decisions based on fear of something. And they've forgotten, I think, the great cloud of witnesses who probably, at least in my knowledge of my great cloud of witnesses, would have never agreed to this. Took on the task of persevering, of running the race set before them. We're reminded that we are on a journey together and that we're called to live and run with perseverance. And no, that's not easy. The task is hard. I've been challenged by someone who said, Jim, you don't know what courage it took to take this vote. I think the real courage would have been to not take the vote and to look deeply inside of ourselves. But it's true for all of our lives, not just in that situation. It's one, but there are many others, right? How many times do we not do what God called us to because we're afraid? How many times do we not run with perseverance because we think we've already crossed the finish line and we've arrived where we need to be? How many times do we just stop and not consider the great cloud of witnesses? I know in my life, the great cloud of witnesses is a large group of folks who I count on, knowing that they cheer us on and cheer me on in my life. And that's a legacy that I want to leave behind. I said a few days ago that, I want to be an influencer. One of the ways that I want to continue to influence people around me is to, when I join that great cloud of witnesses someday, that they'll look to me to know that Jim ran the race with perseverance. And that's what we're called to, and that's what we need to do in all of our lives. So, as we live together, as we try to be God's people, let's have the courage to run with perseverance, knowing the great cloud of witnesses is there, cheering us on, and that the finish line, it's way out there somewhere, and we have to continue to persevere in our faith. So that's our word for today as we end our week together. Thanks for joining me. Hope you'll join us Sunday morning at 10:15. We're going to talk about forgiveness. Peter says, Jesus, how many times should we forgive? 7? Peter thinking that was a huge number, right? And Jesus said, no, 70 times 7, which really is, as I'm going to talk about Sunday, it's uncalculatable. We just can't calculate what that means. And that the call to forgiveness is great. It's a call like this to perseverance. So hopefully you'll join us at 10:15, either in person in the church, or you can join us here on Facebook Live. So I pray you'll know of God's love that surrounds you, know of my love for you. Have a great weekend, and I will see you Sunday morning at 10:15, and then here again Monday at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.